Hey there guys, as promised yesterday, I said that due to response to my video for Mental Health Day about BPD, I do want today talking a little bit about bullying. You're going to have to excuse the fact that I'm smoking through this, but it's obviously quite a sensitive subject for me, and even my attempts at giving up isn't really going to do it. Well, let's start at the beginning, okay? The psych team I saw when I first got diagnosed thought that the BPD has been there since probably my early teens. Something's got to have triggered it. It's usually a form of childhood trauma. Now, my upbringing, as a lot of you will know, certainly wasn't traumatic in any way. So, as far as we've worked out, this could go back to the bullying. Right from my last couple of years in middle school, and right the way through high school, and also with one of my extracurricular activities that I absolutely loved, but for some reason didn't want to leave because there were some good times, but there was also a lot of bullying and sniding going on. So they think that could potentially have had an effect on BPD, and if not triggered it, certainly made it a lot worse. So let's talk about that for a minute, shall we? Okay, well, bullying, as we know, can take a number of packages. It can be a number of things. It can be physical bullying, or it can be the psychological, mental side of it, which is more what I had: the name calling, the constant mocking, the rejection, the no one wanting to be my friend, the everyone taking the piss out of me absolutely continually, to the point that I didn't know who I can trust. There were a lot of times that I had friends, but I didn't know if I could trust them, because I didn't know if they were going back to the bullies, saying what I said, telling them what I'd been saying, anything I opened up about, if they were going to start joining in. So it was, my teens were actually quite a lonely time, and not a lot was done about it, because the one time I did mention it to somebody, I nearly got beaten up for being a grass, and that made it a lot worse. So after that, I just suffered in silence. So what psychological effect did this have on me? Well, it knocked my confidence massively. Although I may come across as very, very extroverted, I'm actually not. And you scratch underneath that surface, and I'm the least confident person you'll ever meet. I have continual imposter syndrome. I never think I'm good enough at anything. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be my job. It could be anything. I never think I'm good enough. I think I'm a crap wife. I think I'm a crap stepmother, crap step-grandmother. Nothing I do is ever good enough. Yeah, so what bullying did, obviously this was in the time, thankfully, before social media. I'd come home from school, straight up to my room, and I'd be in tears. Lost interest in football. Those of you that know me well know that played football for an early age. Started to lose interest in it, didn't see the point. I was crap, I was useless, wasn't good at anything. I was ugly. No one was ever going to love me. I was different. Because I was a tomboy, I was into my football, not into boyfriends and makeup and shit. Yeah, I was different. That's not a good thing to be when you're a teenager, is it? So, I'd come home from school or wherever, and I'd have run the gauntlet for a couple of hours. There'd have been some name calling, some mocking, and I'd go up to my room and I'd be in tears. I took way too much paracetamol a lot of the time. that's about the time I started self-medicating with alcohol and a few other, shall we say, substances, because I just wanted to blot it all out, and it didn't really work. It was still there. Yeah, it was still there then. It's still there now. We're talking 30, let's say, sake of argument, 35 years ago. And I'm going to be really honest, and this is probably one of the most honest videos I've done. I'm still damaged from it. I'm going to show you something now. This is what I do when my BPD goes out of control. And a lot of that, yes, it looks superficial, yes, it looks like cat scratches, etc. But it's because I can't control my emotions, I can't control how it makes me feel. The slightest thing can make me think about this. It can be a song that will come on that will remind me of my teens, and it won't be a happy moment. It will be reminding me of a time when so-and-so did such and such to me. I'm not going to name names. There may be a few people out there that are going to see this that will know, and they will know that I'm talking about them. But I'm not naming names. That's down to them and their conscience. They'll know who they are. They'll know what they did. They'll know what they said. So it could be a certain song that just set me back to, say, 1990 or 1991, and it won't remind me of summer and messing about with friends or finishing my GCSEs. It will remind me of being bullied, name-called relentlessly. Now, I was talking to one of the psych nurses about this the other day, because we're waiting for me to get my referral. And I was saying I feel really stupid feeling like this because it's not as if I got it physically. But he said, and he's quite right, physical scars can heal. The mental scars are a lot harder to deal with. So, yeah, there's that. I'm 47 now. You know, I've got a good job that I love. I've got my wife. I've got my stepchildren. I've got my step-grandkids. And I still never feel like I'm good enough. Not being treated or being alienated, being made to feel alienated or it not included, that can trigger my BPD. Rejection's probably my biggest trigger. And it all stems from the bullying. It all stems from being different. It all stems from the name calling. It all stems from the constant mockery. You know, my bunking off school was started because of that. It was go to school and have the piss taken out of me for 6 hours, or bunk off school and not. And I opted for the not. So I think the message I'm trying to get across here to everybody is bullying's harmful. It can have serious, serious consequences. It can lead to suicide. It does lead to self-harm. And it leads to people like me that 35 years later have still got issues because of what you thought was a laugh as a teenager. You thought was funny. You thought was playing up to your mates, showing off. It damages people. Now, I had the chance to go and see an educational psychologist because my parents were really pissed off with the way I was behaving, especially with school. I turned that down because I didn't want some of the people I went to school with finding out I was seeing a psychologist, because, let's face it, they had more than enough to take the piss out of me about as it was. That would have just been another nail in my coffin, and I had a bit of control over that, so I refused to engage. If I had, you know, we might have got this all sorted out a lot sooner. But yeah, my message is, it is dangerous. It has far-reaching consequences. And some, you know, there's people out there that know what they did as teenagers. They know what they were like to people. And I just want to use my story to say, this is kind of like what you guys can be responsible for. You know, you've now got someone who's almost middle-aged that's still scarred, and probably always will be scarred from what you thought was funny. and from what you thought was a laugh and what may have built up your ego, destroying other people. Is that really the way you want to go? And there's a lot of you, as I say, out there, you're going to watch this and you're going to know who you are. That, in a way, and this isn't me being bitter, I just wanted to say thanks for everything you did. And while we're on the subject, I'm just going to make one very small point. Telling somebody that you're being bullied isn't grassing. It could save your life. It could save somebody else's life. If you're in a duty of care, you run a youth club, whatever, you're a teacher, and you find out one of the kids you're responsible for is getting bullied, don't brush it under the carpet. Don't say kids will be kids. Actually do something about it. Don't just give anti-bullying policies lip service. Don't join in with it in your own subtle way, because again, it's damaging. You know, my arms now, at the moment, my arm, as you've just seen, is full of cuts from razors over the last couple of months, because I'm not coping very well, and it's the memories of this that have done a lot of it. Right, that's my TED talk about bullying. I better go back and do some work. Thank you for listening. Take care.